Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I work in Italy in the Department of Physics. I'm a physicist working on condensed matter physics for 20 years now. But today I'm going to talk about our outreach experience, doing work-based experience for school pupils in universities. And the motivation of our work is that research scientists are increasingly urged to communicate with the public. And this is the third mission, what is called the third mission, is becoming increasingly important in the working life of academic and research institute. And the pandemic crisis we are living today, it makes the need for communication between research and the public even clearer. So this contribution examines our experience of work-based learning for secondary school pupils in university can establish structural connection between research and schools that can help in building mutual trust and in making science education more responsive to current challenges. Work-based learning is the learning that occurs in a real working environment. It has been practiced for centuries. It is probably the first form of education invented by the humankind. And in recent times, this term, work-based learning, has been used to cover all a series of activities that aims at improving technical and academical skills which are relevant in the labor market, to develop employability skills for students. In many countries, this work-based learning is an integral part of secondary education, which is often integrated with school-based learning, which combines formal education, the school education, with real-life experience, which involves a partnership between the schools and an organization or an enterprise, which is usually called the employer. I said this is a part, it is introduced within school curriculum, mostly in the vocational education and training system, to create contact between schools and students within enterprises. Within this context of vocational training, the involvement of universities is in this activity is minimal. But in Italy, there has been an interesting development in the last 5 years, because work-based learning became compulsory for all students in the last 3 years of secondary education. So all Italian students of age 16 to 19 years old have to do something like 100 hours in 3 years of work-based experience. It was named the school work alternation. And currently it involves an activity that has to last at least 30 hours per year. So it can help in having a sustained interaction with students. If you think that an outreach activity is usually a one-day activity, a few hour laboratory activity, a seminar or something like that, but 30 hours can allow for a sustained interaction with students that can create really long-term connection between universities and schools. More important, most of the activities that are part of outreach program or university are in themselves work-based activity. And in the following, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of projects that we have developed. For example, the Radiolab Project, which is a collaboration among researchers, school teachers, and students in the environmental monitoring of natural radioactivity. It is a national project of the Italian Institute for Nuclear Physics, and it is a citizen science project. Means that the public, the students, participate in the real making of scientific research in the environmental monitoring of natural radioactivity. Here you have some picture of some of these activities. Students come to university lab to learn what is radioactivity and how to measure it. They perform measurement in public buildings, in fountains, water and air. They go in malls, in public places to interview and inform people, because what we are discovering is that people knows and is worried about artificial radioactivity, For example, nuclear weapon or nuclear reactor, nuclear energy, and so forth. But they don't know that we are exposed naturally to radioactivity, and mostly argon. And if radon accumulates into a building, into a places, then it can become dangerous. So the students, we have more than 200 students involved in the project, are performing measuring, are informing people, and they are also participating to public events like the European Researchers Night. Here you have some pictures of this activity, which involves, this is the Etna, the volcanoes, in public events, European Researcher Nights. I'm sorry, I forgot to translate in English all this stuff, but you can see that the images are quite beautiful. So this is a citizen science project, which are usually classified, which involves a participatory approach that is classified in 3 modes: collaborative, contributive, and co-creative, which goes from the basic level of volunteering with minimal cognitive engagement to the co-creative level, where the students are engaged with researchers in a peer-to-peer interaction. And this offers them so the possibility of practice active learning techniques in formal school, and the work is a real research work. Okay. The second project I'm going to talk about is a collaboration in recovering disused instruments of school laboratories. Here you have an example of what I mean for disused instruments. The first one is a Tesla coils dating back to the beginning of the 20th century. The one in the middle that dates back to the 50s or the 60s, and the other one is still commercially available on Amazon or similar stuff. So most of these instruments lies abandoned in some shelf in school laboratories, and we are helping schools to recover this instrument. Here you have an idea of several instruments that we have recovered. From the design, the materials, you can get an idea of their period of construction, which ranges from the beginning of the 20th century to nowadays. These are other instruments. I'm going fast so that we can stay in time. And with these instruments, we are asking students to perform science festival, science show. Here you have an image of the cloister of San Domenico in Cosenza, in our town, during the Congress of the Italian Society of Physics. We organized an exhibit with all the instruments, where the students were animated, exposed the instrument to other students of all age. Here you have elementary students, and then in the middle here, while here there are secondary school students. Obviously, these images all are before the pandemic, because this kind of activity has stopped during the pandemic. And we are now currently working online to create a virtual museum with this.
Riccardi, could you wrap up soon? Thank you.
What?
Could you wrap up your presentation?
Could you?
Yeah, you have, can you, within 30 seconds, please?
Okay, I just finished it. So this is another festival of science that we have developed. So the conclusion is that we are working in this field of work-based learning, which integrates formal and informal education. And this can allow for a sustained interaction of students with the research environment. And this is made possible in Italy by a specific policy intervention, which in our opinion needs to be encouraged and promoted, because it can create structural connection between scientific research and education. Thanks for your attention.